It won't be like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not a part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
What's the most you ever lost in a coin toss?
I like the way you die, boy.
I don't want to be a product of my environment.
Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
My boy's awake at smile.
What is up, Film Fixation Podcast? We're back. Back with another episode. We're going to be talking about The Irishman on this one in honor of Martin Scorcese's new movie coming out later this month, Killers of the Flower Moon. We're very excited for this one, and this is a great movie. It's 3.5 hours long. I don't think a lot of you guys have seen this, but you should watch it. So we're gonna talk about it. And at the end of the pod, we're doing the De Niro draft, right?
Yes, De Niro.
De Niro draft of his movies. So that should be fun. But let's get into the film news. Austin, what do you got?
Okay. George Miller's Furiosa. Have you seen Mad Max?
Yeah, I have. I like that.
Pronounce it Furiosa or Furiosa?
Either. Probably. I don't know.
It's going to debut at Cannes 2024.
Okay.
So
that's a sequel or a prequel?
I think it's a prequel for that character, who's played by Charlize Theron, because Anya Taylor-Joy is going to play her.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like a younger version of anybody.
Dude, it's going to work. It's going to work, man.
I'm sure it'll work, yeah. But that's cool.
Eon has reportedly sent a 2 or 3 James Bond film deal to Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
To direct.
I really like that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That's a fantastic idea. I hope Nolan takes on that project. I know he wants to do it as a period piece. So he wants it to be like James Bond, like in the books.
Right.
You know, I think those take place in like the 60s. So that's interesting, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool to see, like a return to form.
Yeah.
Return to the 60s.
It'll be hard for them to find a better James Bond than Daniel Craig, though.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see.
Everybody says Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, that's who's featured on this picture here.
Yeah.
I don't like that much.
Me neither.
I think he has the acting chops for it.
You don't think so?
No. Well, his Bullet Train performance did sell me. Maybe he does.
Okay. I haven't seen Bullet Train, but
it's bad. I was joking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just, you know, Marvel guy. Yeah. I think I'd like an unknown, probably.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't really trust anybody in Hollywood right now.
Well, that was the thing about Daniel Radcliffe. He wasn't unknown, or not Daniel Radcliffe.
He was unknown when they.
Yeah,
Harry
Daniel
Potter.
Craig wasn't unknown, but he had like a totally different. Like he wasn't hot back then. He had long hair when he got the casting. Like
Really?
It was out of nowhere, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like his whole image, his real life image, was molded by the role. So that'd be cool to see somebody go through that same thing.
Yeah, I think so as well. People didn't want him to be James Bond.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they were like, well, they just specifically, they were like, we don't want a blonde James Bond. That was the critique, which is stupid, but
makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, hopefully Nolan accepts the deal.
I hope he does too, because he's like a lot of the great directors kind of don't want to do trilogies or don't want to do IP movies, and he did so well with Batman. You know, he's shown that he can do it. So I think it would set a cool pattern for like high quality IP movies like that again.
Exactly.
Not that the recent James Bond movies have been low quality.
No, I love them. I love them all.
There's not a whole lot of film news this week. Ridley Scott says he has a 4-hour plus cut of Napoleon that's going to release on Apple TV Plus after the theatrical run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I'll be watching that.
When is Midsummer coming to theaters? When are we going to see that director's cut?
I think we decided they're not doing it in Utah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. So maybe we can fly out to California or something.
Maybe.
I'd do it. It'd be worth it. Yeah, it's such a shame. None of those are coming. Unless you've checked again.
I did check, and I saw no
Yeah.
showtimes in Utah.
Gosh, it pisses
Ridiculous.
me
Why
off so
even
bad.
announce that AMC? That it's
No.
not going to be like worldwide.
I also wanted to see Foe, which is supposed to come out this week or next.
Mm-hmm.
No showtimes for that.
I couldn't find that either.
I've heard it's bad, though. The reviews are pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
But I don't know
Paul
how with Paul
Mescal.
Mescal and Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
I'd go just for that. So
I know, same.
okay. Michael Mann confirms Heat 2, starring Adam Driver as young Neil McCauley.
That's crazy.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be insane.
I know. But Adam Driver he's like a foot taller than
Yeah, like
than
maybe a
De
foot and a
Niro.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I don't know. I'm gonna see it.
Who are they
opening
gonna
night.
get to play Pacino's part?
Dude. Who can you cast in that role? I'm thinking they said Austin Butler is rumored to have a part too.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking he'll be like the Val
Kilmer. He's got to be.
But somebody. So they'd be younger. They'd be around Adam Driver's age, right?
Yeah. Robert
So,
Pattinson.
He can't.
It's just, here's the thing.
Pacino, that's just so hard.
Yeah. And both De Niro and Pacino were in their 50s during that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like so cool.
Yeah.
They just had that intangible,
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of another actor that could fill that role.
No. I mean, Adam Driver doesn't even have like the same star appeal that
No.
De Niro had back.
Oh, not
when
even
this-
close.
yeah, no.
Not even close.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
We'll have to
Leo? But how?
But I think, isn't Leo
Pacino's like
15?
5'2". I mean,
Yeah. There's no way.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's probably the
We'll
last
see.
time we're going to talk about Heat tonight.
Or maybe
So,
Pacino probably won't even be in it. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
I mean,
just-
like his character.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
You're right. But that's going to,
I wonder where it'll be set.
yeah.
Like if Macaulay was always in Los
I
Angeles.
think it's got to be LA. That's
You
like,
think so?
LA is a character in this movie, in Heat.
I
you
know, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, we're very excited for that. That's big news.
Okay, yeah. And we're done talking about Heat for the rest of the night. At least you are.
Okay.
Okay, that's all of our news.
All right, perfect. Getting to The Irishman. Let me give you the synopsis here. This movie came out in 2019. It is directed by Martin Scorcese. It is 3.5 hours long, 209 minutes. And here's the synopsis. His story changed history. Pennsylvania, 1956, Frank Sheridan, a war veteran of Irish origin who works as a truck driver, accidentally meets mobster Russell Buffalino. Once Frank becomes his trusted man, Buffalino sends him to Chicago with the task of helping Jimmy Hoffa, a powerful union leader related to organized crime, with whom Frank will maintain a close friendship for nearly 20 years. It's got a 3.9 average on Letterboxd. That's disappointing. And I gave this film 5 stars. You gave it 4.5. You watched it last night.
Yeah.
Zach and Nick both give it 4.5. Your wife gave it 3.5. I don't know how she's seen this.
Yeah.
I think she's lying. So yeah, those are the only people we know that have seen it. But what was your experience watching it last night?
I'll be honest. It is important to give context of a viewing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bit of an emergency I had to handle like 2 hours in.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to blow my brains out for about an hour.
Okay.
So just for some context, I'm a landlord for the viewers out there that don't know.
Yeah.
And I get a call from my tenants saying,
You give off a landlord like vibe.
Yeah,
though.
I'm sure
I feel like
everybody
everybody kind of knows.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I get a call from my tenants and they're like, hey, we think there's a gas leak in the house. Like, what do we do?
Is it a carbon monoxide thing?
Yeah, same thing as
Yeah.
I should have had it solved. but well, I thought I did anyway. So I called Dominion Energy to go up there and test it, and I was waiting for their updates, and it took them like an hour to get back to me. So like 2 hours into the movie, I get that call. Then the rest of the movie, until like 30 minutes left, I was just so stressed.
Yeah,
that something bad was going to happen. So I got a little taken out of the movie. I think that's the only reason I gave it a 4.5.
Okay.
But I really, really enjoyed it. It's just like, it sounds so film bro-y and so douchey to just like idolize De Niro and Pacino and Pesci and
that's who we
Scorsese.
are.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely like, you just feel a real connection to these guys, and it doesn't matter what character they play.
Mm-hmm.
You just like, you're rooting for them the whole time, and it's just, it sounds so stupid, but it's like an experience to just be able to watch them do their thing, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was amazing. I didn't know it was based on a true story until Jimmy Hoffa shows up, because I remembered the name from a textbook however long ago.
Yeah.
I think if I would have known that going in, I would have had a little bit different experience as well, because he doesn't show up for like 30, 40 minutes.
The 46-minute mark he shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved it. Some of the de-aging stuff, I mean, I thought that looked fine. I don't know, we can get into this later in some of the categories, but
yeah, we will.
Some of it like wasn't visually Martin Scorsese, I felt like.
Yeah.
Or I think Rodrigo Prieto or Roger Prieto, I don't remember his name. I think he did this, right?
Probably.
Yeah, it was Rodrigo Prieto,
Okay.
who's doing Killers of the Flower Moon, who did Barbie. So we're familiar with his work, but it didn't really feel like him or Scorsese in some parts.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I watched this right when it came out in 2019, and you know, it's very long, 3.5 hours, and I understand most people aren't going to watch this in one sitting. You know,
Yeah,
that's a lot to commit to. I couldn't even watch it in one sitting today. I watched the first half hour.
Yeah.
Went to the gym, and then came back, finished it. But it's so like episodical, you know, where like all these different little like plot lines pop up, you know, and then they get resolved. So once you feel like you've seen like a resolution at a certain part, it's easy to like, you know, get up, pause the movie, come back to it. Martin Scorsese addressed this, and he said that's why he wanted people to go see it in theaters.
Yeah.
And he was upset with what all went down and how it had a very limited theatrical release because of Netflix. We'll get into that. But it's the buildup of information that he wanted people to experience in this film. And it's something that you don't really get when you pause it and return to it multiple times. I think it's still really, really good. This is like weirdly a really good comfort movie for me.
Yeah.
Where I can just put it on, feel like at ease, you know, just because there are so many little plot lines, you know, like if I watch it for 20 minutes while I'm, you know, eating or something, which I've done this before,
right?
You know, I get a little bit of satisfaction just from watching a little bit of it and returning to it later. So, you know, watch this movie however you like. If you need to separate it into little bits, I feel like that's fine. You know, 3.5 hours is a really long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the de-aging, I feel like I was looking up stuff about this and I couldn't find anything, but I feel like they've updated it since it came out, because I remember at the time seeing it and being like, this doesn't look that good, you know?
I remember it being somewhat controversial.
Yeah.
That they like spent so much of the budget on the de-aging.
Yeah. It was like nobody had ever done this before.
Yeah.
You know, nobody had ever de-aged their main characters by like 30 years. And it takes you out of it, I think, a little bit at the very beginning.
At the very beginning, when he's just like, when it cuts to him just driving the truck.
Yeah,
it's pretty jarring.
Just the shock of seeing De Niro like that. And it's more shocking for us because we're familiar with what De Niro looked like.
It doesn't
in
look
his
like young De
40s.
Niro.
It doesn't look
Yeah.
like young De Niro.
Yeah.
I mean, we like De Niro in Heat. That's
Yeah.
probably like how he should have looked, you know,
Yes.
and Pacino as well.
Yeah.
And that's not what they look like, you know. And I think they did a good job though, because like after 5 minutes, I think you get used to it. At least I did.
Well, yeah, because after he gets after Pesci helps him at the truck,
Yeah.
then it cuts to them like having dinner at the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
talking to each other at the restaurant.
And I
it's
thought it
like a
looked
little
good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
From then on, you don't even notice it.
Yeah. I think it was just the bright
Yeah.
atmosphere. Like in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
you notice they can't cover up stuff with like lighting
Mm-hmm.
in a situation like that. And also, you know, it's tough because you can de-age their faces, but you can't really de-age their posture
Or their movements.
So you can really just tell De Niro is an old man, like,
Yeah.
walking around with the way he's hunched over. You know, his back, it's just not going to straighten like it used
Right.
to, you know? And there's one scene in particular that really stood out to me. It's the wide shot of when he's beating up the convenience store owner. He drags him out of the place and, you know, punches him. And he's like trying to kick him. And he does this, he's like trying to rev up to kind of kick him, you know? He looks like he's 80 when
Yeah.
he's doing that, you
Yeah.
know? And the store clerk owner, like, I've never seen anybody get beat up more, like, without putting up so much as a fight like that, you know?
Yeah, it's funny when he like first throws him on the ground and like the glass on the doors breaks.
Yeah.
It's almost as if it like breaks before he hits it. Like it's
Mhm.
just so exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that scene, that's the only time where I like really, really notice it. And like the bus when
Right.
he's fixing the car, you know? But I mean, other than that, I just really love this movie. I feel like it's the most underrated of Scorsese's movies.
Yeah, that could be said.
It's probably my third favorite behind Goodfellas and The Departed. Maybe Silence.
I like Silence a bit more.
I think, but Silence isn't as rewatchable as this. I don't
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
Silence, like the first time viewing experience, it's amazing. But I've seen this. This is probably like my fifth time watching this,
Mm-hmm.
and I just enjoy it just so much every time I watch it. And it's just you've never seen De Niro, Al Pacino, and Pesci in a movie together like this, and also like Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of like really great stars that are in this. And I mean, like you said, I mean, we've kind of idolized these guys in our love for film, you know, like these are kind of like our guys,
Right.
you know? I mean, I've got the Godfather poster here, Goodfellas right behind me. Like these are some of my favorite movies of all time. And you didn't think you'd see these guys all in a movie together.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first time Pacino ever worked with Martin Scorsese,
Which is crazy.
which is a shame.
Yeah.
I heard that Scorsese almost directed The Godfather Part 2 when like maybe Francis Ford Coppola wasn't going to do a second one. But they thought Martin was too unexperienced
Okay.
at the time, or inexperienced. So they made, I don't know, I didn't read too much into it, but Francis ended up doing it. Became one of the best movies ever. So yeah, it's crazy just the cast and how like not a lot of people have seen this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like that good where so many people should go see this, you know.
It's also like rewarding as somebody who does watch all of those older films where
Mhm.
where we've seen them at their peak. Like I feel like if you didn't have that context, you wouldn't appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
If you just went in thinking, "Oh, this is one of the greatest filmmakers ever and some of the greatest actors ever,"
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really know what they do or I haven't seen them before, you probably wouldn't come away with that impression.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's good to go in with all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we recommend watching Goodfellas first. Watch The Godfather. Get familiar with these actors and how great they are.
Casino too.
And Casino. Yeah. All those De Niro Pesci team ups.
Amazing.
And Heat. You gotta watch Heat too. De Niro and Al Pacino are also in another movie together that nobody's seen. They're like cops or they're like detectives trying to solve a murder. It's horrible from what I've heard. I watched a trailer for it. It just looks really bad. It seems like they just wanted to make a movie together.
Yeah.
And they didn't care who directed it or what it was about, you know? So yeah, who do you, I was thinking about this myself. I originally really liked De Niro, and he was like my favorite actor like 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. But then I got really familiar with Pacino and his work, and I don't know who's the better actor.
It's hard to say because, like, I don't really like Pacino's. I love Pacino's performance in Heat, but I wouldn't look at that and say he's out acting De Niro in this.
Yeah.
But then if you look at The Godfather Part 2, one of the greatest acting performances I've ever seen, and that's from Pacino.
Yeah.
Whereas De Niro doesn't really do that much.
Yeah.
For that movie. I think it's hard to say. I've seen so much more of De Niro. I don't know if I could speak to that, but
I'm leaning towards more Pacino.
Okay.
I think he's just so watchable, and he's got more of like a physical aspect that he can bring to a film.
Yeah.
You know, he's so like energetic. Even in this movie, The Irishman, you know, he's like 80 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like beating people up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just so like animated and energetic in all that he does, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I think De Niro's movies are just a tad bit better. But I think if it was like the 80s or the 90s and I could have like one person, I think I'd want Pacino in that movie over De Niro.
See, when you say it like that, I think I would pick De Niro.
Really?
Yeah. But again,
should we argue?
Yeah, let's do it. Again, that just speaks to like the caliber of movies that he's in rather than like his acting performance, I think.
Yeah.
For De Niro.
You should watch Dog Day Afternoon. That's a really good Pacino performance.
It's been on the list for a bit.
Yeah.
I still need to watch that.
De Niro, I feel like
Scarface.
He's a little bit limited on what roles he can take. You know?
Yeah.
He's amazing, you know, in what he does, but like he's grumpy, you know, he's kind of mysterious, and he just got this like aura about him, you know, in every film that he's got that he's in, you know. And he's in a lot of mob movies, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
A lot of like characters that are that have a lot of depth to them, you know. And I mean, Pacino, I guess he's kind of the same way, but I don't know. I feel like he's just got a little bit more range.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what I mean. That range is a loose term that I throw around, you know. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I say Pacino and you say De Niro, but
no, well, I agree. If you're talking range, again, it's subjective.
It is subjective, yeah.
But like, take his performance in The Godfather Part 2 versus Heat, like I mentioned earlier. Like one's so muted and serious.
I think he has the best performance in Heat.
I think it's. Just
I don't think it's the
funny.
best, but it's so funny.
Yeah,
and it's exactly what the movie needed. And you know what? They mess up that role so many times in movies.
Yeah,
you mentioned like The Town. John Hamm is like
so boring,
comic booky. You know, just a stupid cop. And we watched The Creator. Yeah. You can't get like the chief of police, the chief like detective or whatever role right. I think it's the best of that role I've ever seen by Pacino. And he's over the top, but he's funny, and it's such an iconic performance.
Right. And that's why I'm making the argument for range is like De Niro couldn't play that role. I don't think.
No, he couldn't.
you couldn't take him seriously. So yeah,
and it's like, I mean, you can't take Pacino really seriously in that role either, but it's just so funny, you know. And he did that on purpose, you know. I feel like he honestly could have had a more serious performance.
Yeah,
but his character is supposed to be like, it's in the cocaine era.
Yeah, he's supposed to be coked out.
He's supposed to be like coked out.
Yeah.
That would explain the TV scene, you know, where he takes his.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Anything we want to talk about before? Let's get into the categories.
Okay.
Austin's already recorded another pod, so
well,
we don't want to have Austin pod for like 3 hours. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, I've been stressing today, but I just do want to say, like, Martin Scorsese goes through like these stages in his career. It's like he'll make 1 or 2 or 3 movies of the same kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like genre. Similar themes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And like this reminded me a lot of Silence, where it's just like it seems like Martin Scorsese is kind of looking in the mirror and reflecting on what his life is going to be, because Silence is all about like wrestling with one's own faith.
Yeah.
And this one is like all about one's morality and like coming to terms with the things that you've done in your life.
Yeah.
And so I think like the last 30 minutes are beautiful, like just golden.
Yeah.
And it's all because instead of like Goodfellas had that kind of vibe where you saw somebody destroy themselves, right?
Yeah.
But this is so much more emotional and so much more like nuanced, I feel like.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful movie. Just wanted to say that before we move on.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. This is a different take on the typical like gangster mob movies, you know. And Scorsese is famous for like making that a popular genre, you know, with Casino, Goodfellas. And this does definitely have like the Casino, Goodfellas, like similar themes, you know, even a bit of like Wolf of Wall Street, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of those slow motion shots, you know, like we know at the party, at Jordan Belfort's party, you know, when they're on, what are the Quaaludes or whatever. And we get Jonah with that slow motion shot, you know. That same shot is in this movie about like 4 times, you know. And I just he blends so many of these different movies together into The Irishman very well.
Yeah.
But like you said, the last 30 minutes are beautiful, and the Goodfellas, it's more of a quicker downfall.
Yes.
You know, this is definitely more like realistic and a more like deeper look at how, you know, they don't really glorify the mobster gangster lifestyle.
Never
in this. Yeah, no, they're more depicted as like clumsy. You know, they make a lot of mistakes. Like they whack Joey Bugs, you know, for going to the courthouse when and Russell's like, he didn't tell nobody he was going to the courthouse, you know. He wasn't down there to pay no effing parking ticket, you know. that's really bad. And it turns out that Joey Bugs did tell somebody that he was going to go to the courthouse. That somebody just forgot to tell another somebody. so he's like, so it was a bad hit, you know. And he's just dead now. And, you know, so many things like that happen in this movies where they make these mistakes. You see them in their older age just get more, just less careful.
Yeah.
You know, way more reckless. Like Russell, that meeting where with the guy who's wired, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's just like, what do you know, give him a trip to Australia or whatever. Can you help him get down there? And the guy's obviously like with the wire, like, so paranoid.
Nervous,
nervous. And that's something I don't think he would have caught on to when he was younger, you know.
Right.
But you see how they get more reckless and how like you're just doomed to fail in that lifestyle. And it comes at a huge cost. Not only to the fact that they go to prison, you know, for the last 20, 30 years of their lives. De Niro, you know, Frank's character, he alienates himself from his family.
Yeah.
You know, he's got these three beautiful daughters,
Mhm.
you know, and they won't, one of them just won't even speak to him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she doesn't say a word the whole film, you know,
Yeah.
it's one daughter. But it's just sad to see him deteriorate and how sad this lifestyle actually is. And it's so great that, you know, Scorsese, he's aged as a filmmaker, his taste and what he wants to make his age as well.
Yeah.
And we get to see that in this film. And I think it's beautiful, like you said, just the last, honestly, you know, like 60 minutes, you know, of this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I really, it's weird because in Goodfellas, the first hour is probably the best part of the movie. You know?
Yeah.
And this, it's a lot like how Goodfellas starts out, you know, where like you get all these different montages, there's the world building, you meet like 3 or 4 Tonys and Joeys, you know.
that is one complaint about this movie and all of his mob movies. I can never keep the names straight.
Keep track.
Yeah.
I was like, I was trying to pay special attention to it this time, you know, like just remembering all these different names, and I was still having trouble, you know. And this is like there's like 3 Joeys, and there's like 3 Tonys, 2 Franks, you know, and they're both like central characters, the 2 Franks, you know. And it's just hard to, those Italians, they need to
get more creative.
So did I finish my thought?
No, you were saying that like he creates a world and you meet a few Tonys. It starts similar to Goodfellas.
Yeah, just like the first hour is amazing in Goodfellas, but in this one, it's like the last half of the movie is probably my favorite part, you know?
Yeah, that's one thing you talked about, the Peggy character.
Mm-hmm.
I usually don't like kid actors.
Yeah.
I love the use of her character as like kind of Frank's conscience in a way. Like that's kind of how you measure things. And when she trusts Jimmy, then he starts trusting Jimmy, you know, like, it's just an awesome character and a great way to kind of get inside his psyche and to see how he's destroying everything. I just love that character. One other thing I wanted to say, a lot of the reviews are like, there are a few scenes that I could take out, a few scenes that I don't like. I just don't understand what you would take out. Like, that's the beauty of this movie, and the reason it's so long, and why you need to watch it in one sitting, is by the end, like, you genuinely feel like you know this person, you've lived a life with them, and you feel sad for their downfall. Like, that's where I think it's a step above Goodfellas, is it's not just some like coked out tailspin where they're like falling from grace. It's a genuine like character arc that you feel because it's so long, you've spent so much time with them. So I would encourage you to watch this whole thing in one sitting and not complain about how long it is, because it's perfect.
I recommend that as well. And also, just like you said, his relationship with his, you know, Frank's daughter, it shows you how great a guy he is too. You know, Jimmy, and how people like outside of their circle, you know, everybody just likes Jimmy. They view him as a great guy, so it's all the more tragic on what, you know, once you realize what happens to him at the end of this film, you know. So I really liked that as well. Okay, let's get into the categories.
Okay,
favorite part. I really like the meeting in Florida. With Tony Pro and Frank and Jimmy. It's just like it's Tony Pro and just like and Jimmy just kind of bouncing off each other, you know. And Jimmy's so stubborn, and it's so nobody does these types of scenes better than Al Pacino. You know. And the whole thing just with like how late you could show up to a meeting is just, you'll always like remember that, you know, can't be more than 10 minutes late. Tony Pro thinks it's 15, and then Jimmy's like 12 and a half. You know? He's just trying to be the mediator, you know. And just how like they're both so stubborn, just refuse to say sorry when he like his livelihood depends on getting the endorsement from Tony Pro, you know? And he can't just say sorry for saying, like, you people when they were in prison, you know? Their interactions, Tony Pro does a great job in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know who the actor is, but
I don't know either.
that's a tall task. He's most of the time he's just acting opposite Al Pacino. You know, and can you imagine doing that? It's like a relatively, I don't know if he's unknown, but like this is definitely his biggest role he's ever been in, and he does a great job just bouncing off Pacino.
Yeah,
you know, there's one scene when they're in the prison actually, and Jimmy's got his ice cream, and that was like the first scene they had opposite each other. And when they filmed it, Tony Pro improvised the part where he smacks Al Pacino's ice cream out of the way before he jumps over the table to get him. And that was improvised. Or like I said, yeah, it was improvised. Al Pacino didn't know. And so his reaction when his ice cream gets slapped away is genuine.
That's funny.
But it's so quick in the moment. I wish they would have let it marinate a little bit more, you know? But just a funny scene. And it's like Tony Pro is on top of him right there. Yeah. And then after in the meeting in Florida, Jimmy's the one who attacks him, you know, and he gets his get back. But yeah, I just really love that scene. I think it's fantastic, you know. And it tells you so much about these characters, you know. Yeah. Just how Frank really just wants Jimmy to just chill out. Just chill out. Just because he loves him so much, he's willing to be so patient with him.
Yeah. It shows that Jimmy can't. And, and it's going to be his downfall.
Yeah, he can't. No. I mean, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Jimmy. So, yeah, that scene is one of my favorites.
I liked that one because I think they did it on Bad Friends or something.
Oh, they did?
Like when they...
Oh, yeah, no, they reenacted
When I heard the dialogue, I was like, where have I heard this before?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And who was it? It was... What's the girl's name?
Rudy. Yeah.
Rudy, yeah, Rudy does her. She's just like so off.
Yeah, that could be in the running for my favorite scene.
Okay, I have a couple more. I'll give you.
Okay, one entry I like when they're sitting at the table. What's Pesci's character's name?
Russell.
Like when Russell and Frank are sitting at the table the first time, they're like eating the bread with the wine. Mm-hmm. And they're speaking Italian, and he gives them like his background of just kind of like following orders and killing Nazis. And he's like, I never understood why they kept digging their graves.
Yeah.
Like, and it just totally comes full circle by the end of the movie. It's like just that human desperation and doing anything to stay alive.
Yeah.
And how ultimately it doesn't matter. Like you're digging your own grave the whole time. So I really liked that.
No, that's a great point. I was going to bring a loaf of bread and some wine for us to break while we were
dip in there.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
And I love how that also comes full circle with them
in the prison.
In the prison, yeah. And you know, Russell is like, my teeth, I can't chew. He's got to dip it in the wine, you know, just a little bit.
Yeah.
He does such a good job right there, just acting as a really old person. You know, it's crazy. And we get that resolution where Tommy. I call him Tommy. He's a Goodfellas character. Yeah. But when Russell is just like, he's like, you know, Jimmy was a good guy. I never wanted it to go down the way it did.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that like these guys have known each other like 40, 50 years, you know? And it's probably been like 20 years since that happened to Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's just now like where he tells him, you know what? I never wanted it to go that way, you know? Just speaks to like how unspoken so many things are in this film.
Yeah.
Just because of how so many of the characters are so like withdrawn and mysterious, and they just like don't. It took so much of like Russell to actually say that. You know? He's like, I chose us over him, you know? And it's crazy. Just like the friendship. They're like probably the closest friends, you know, like that you can be. And there's still so many things that they just don't say, you know?
Yeah. And that speaks to Frank's loyalty to Russell. Like the fact that he killed somebody he loved so much just out of nothing but loyalty and like respect for somebody that he also loves.
Yeah.
Just speaks a lot to that friendship, and by the end, it's really telling.
Yeah, I was kind of analyzing that, like who's better friends here? I mean, where does Frank's loyalties lie? And he, ultimately chooses Russell.
Yeah,
but I mean, maybe he did that because, I mean, he's also logical.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
gonna
like
make a
definitely
logical choice,
self-preservation
like,
as well.
Yeah, Russell was his safety, like the entire film, and he was a better friend too than Jimmy. Jimmy was selfish and he couldn't get out of his own way. And Russell, even from the very beginning, he's constantly saving his neck,
right.
With the shipment, the truck,
Yeah.
And then when Frank goes to blow up the laundromat,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I wouldn't have bothered with saving your life here, but you got a good friend here and Russell. And he's like, oh, I know. He's like, no, you don't know, So it's just really cool. That's something to watch, just like their friendship in this movie. I think it's great. And it's so great. This is their 7th film together,
Yeah, dude.
You've just seen these
Crazy.
guys as friends, just like your entire life. And it's just great to see such a memorable one, and probably their last on-screen performance together. So,
yeah, it's amazing. That's why it's a great double feature with Casino. Not just because it's a Scorcese that stars both of them, but like their friendship in that is also like, it doesn't always make sense. It's sometimes like toxic.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to maintain, but it's still that just sense of loyalty that it's unbreakable. It's great.
Yeah. De Niro does a great job just being like a loyal friend in movies. Pacino, not so much. So he has that over him. Scarface, you know what happens in that?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
It's on the list.
So I guess I won't
Don't
spoil that, actually.
Don't spoil it.
He's not a very good friend. Okay. So your favorite part? That was okay,
maybe, but if you have other options, I'll take them.
The bread, yeah. Okay. I like the getting into the themes of like stuff that goes unspoken. The hit on Joe Gallo. Crazy Joe.
Sebastian
guy,
Maniscalco.
He insults Russell's pin.
Yeah.
And then it's just like that look that he gives Frank after that whole interaction goes down.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. Like you just know, you've been with these characters long enough to know that like, okay, he's dead. He's a dead man.
Right.
It doesn't even need to be said at this point. And then the hit, when he's at the Humberto's clam house, like with his family.
Yeah.
It's like Frank, it's a callback to Taxi Driver, when he lays out the guns, all the pistols and like the shotgun on his bed. And he's like, no, you want something small, like maybe you going with 2 guns here, you got to get the guy, the security guard first,
Don't shoot him in the face.
Don't shoot him in the face, you got nothing against this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, you might want to go to the bathroom first too before you go take on a job like this, but I was fine. So I went to the bathroom before. And like that nice shot, where we get the scope of the place. It's kind of like one of those great tracking shots, that Martin's so great at. And yeah, just like that whole scene, I just think is really, really cool. How he just, De Niro is such a great narrator in this film.
Yeah.
And the way he just lays out these scenes are just really, really great, really interesting.
Right.
So yeah, that scene. And then what I think is actually my favorite scene is Frank's ceremony, when we get to see De Niro and Pesci act with each other. And then we get Pesci and Al Pacino acting next to each other. And then we go back to Pacino and De Niro, and it's just like everything was like okay before the whole ceremony, but then as they're just talking, it's just the communication and lack of it, that just leads to Jimmy's downfall, you know, and how just the conversations slowly get to, you know, what eventually happens.
Right.
And Pesci's got a great line where he's just like, it's what it is, you know? And I think that's just like a great quote that sums up like that scene, you know, as a whole. So yeah, I just really like just the performances we get in that scene. I think are great, you know, seeing these actors. Because Pesci and De Niro, like, they didn't have any screen time together up until that point.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's important that Martin made a scene where they're acting right next to each other, you know? So.
You mean Pesci and Pacino?
Or Pesci and Pacino, So yeah, I think that's probably my favorite scene, you know? And you see, like, you know, De Niro, how sad he gets.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, you were talking about how, like, you really hope Pacino doesn't, or De Niro doesn't phone it in his performance of Killers of the Flower Moon. But this is just such a fantastic performance by him, you know, just like his eyes, you know, you can tell just how sad he is for Jimmy, how much he cares about him. And yeah, I just think it's a fantastic job by him. These scenes. Amazing. Yeah. It's supposed to be his big night, you know, and just Jimmy just ruins it for him.
Yeah.
You know.
And he has that really intimate moment with Pesci when he gives him the ring.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like from right there, you can kind of tell where the movie's going, where the loyalties are going to lie.
Mm-hmm. That was a great scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I love you. You're my kid.
Yeah.
You're my son. He kisses him on the forehead, you know? And Jimmy also gives him like a watch, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like a clip, like it's 2 seconds long. It's like a snapshot of the watch, a snapshot of him wearing it, you know? But then it just shows you how much more like Russell cares about Jimmy, where he gives him the ring. You know, he's like, only 3 people in the world have this ring. And one of them's Irish.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, just another great in-depth look at their relationship in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
Okay.
Is that your favorite?
Honestly, that wasn't because that's like right when I got the phone call.
You're the phone
call. So I was like,
yeah.
I missed a bit of that scene. But,
oh no.
But we can say that. Let's pin that.
On the rewatch,
On the rewatch. Oh, dude, it's gonna be good. I almost want to watch it like tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. I just watched it like a month ago, but I was like, I have no problem watching this again right now.
It's an investment.
It is. Yeah.
Like not just time, but emotion, you know.
Uh-huh. I started it at 4:00 and it's we're recording. It's crazy that like it just takes that long, you know?
Yeah.
Least favorite part, like I said earlier, it's just when Frank beats up the convenience store owner.
Yeah, and really the only parts I didn't like were visual.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like when Jimmy Hoffa sees that the flag is at full mast after Kennedy dies.
Mm-hmm.
He goes up to the roof to take it down to half mast. I thought that was funny and great.
Yeah.
But visually, it's like they're on a soundstage and it's all animated.
Yeah.
That was like, it just took me out of the movie for a second.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking right there at that part. But I think I was just laughing at the fact that he took he didn't want the flag at half mast after John F. Kennedy died.
I also noticed I was kind of watching like a recap video today. And when he first finds out Kennedy dies, he like goes, looks at the TV for a second, and then just turns back, goes right back to his ice cream, and everybody's still standing
just
there
so
in shock.
funny, dude.
Yeah, that's great.
That made me think of the most literally me category. We'll just do that right now. Most literally me character. I was thinking either Jimmy or Russell. I don't think
I'm cool enough to be Russell.
I want to relate more to Russell. That's who I try to be more.
Yeah.
Just like that. He's like 5'2", or like 4'10". I don't know. He's so small. But he acts as if he's like 6'5". He's so menacing.
Yeah.
In this film, you know? And he's like so withdrawn with his emotions, you know?
Well, that's
so
what I think.
Mysterious.
I think that's why I loved it so much. Like the other collaborations between Pesci and Scorcese, he's like the little guy that has a short temper that can just fly off the rails, you know?
Yeah.
And he doesn't really convey that much power. Like, you know, he's scary and he can do bad things, but
he's just insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this, like you're saying, he's just like a super powerful figure.
Yeah.
And you just want to be accepted by him. Like, you can understand De Niro because you're like, oh, I would just want to do what's right by Pesci, you know, in every moment here. So,
yeah, no, that's a great point. It's crazy the difference between those two characters. And I think this is my favorite performance by Pesci, you know?
Yeah.
I think I like it more than Goodfellas. Goodfellas, it's so iconic, you know? But this is just such a great performance by him in his old age. He comes out of retirement to do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he turned down this role. They said multiple times. It was rumored he turned it down like 50 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so good he came out of it.
I know. It's insane.
I didn't recognize him until he started talking. Like, there's that part where we're first introduced to him and he's wearing kind of dark sunglasses.
Yeah.
And De Niro's narrating. And then we see them in the car and he starts talking. And I was like, that's Joe Pesci. Holy crap.
Yeah.
But like, just that's how iconic he is. You know, like, he had to be in this role.
Yeah, it was made for him.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So yeah, I think Jimmy is more relatable, just like stubborn. You know, I could see myself like, I was trying to think like, who, if I was Jimmy in the scenario where John F. Kennedy died and I saw the flag at half mast, if there was somebody that I didn't like,
Yeah.
you know, and I owned the building and I was like, I think I would do that too. You know, like if
Micah Parsons,
I don't mind Micah
any
Parsons.
Cowboys player,
the Cowboys,
Dak?
if Jerry Jones died, you know, or Taylor Swift.
Oh, don't say
that's
that.
the first name that comes to mind,
dude. They're gonna come for us. You
yeah,
say
that's
that.
true, actually. But if somebody that I just didn't like, just died, and I think I'd do the same thing. You know, just like, this is my flag. I'm gonna put it up. You know,
and I love that it's like right outside of the Capitol building. Like, as they're lowering it, you can see the center of the nation right there.
Yeah, right behind.
And he's like
him.
the one going against the grain. That's great.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'd say
probably
Jimmy loves
Jimmy
ice
also.
cream.
Yeah,
you know, he
can't
just
beat it.
I mean, Frank's supposed to be like our into this world.
Yeah.
You know, like we see him as a delivery truck driver when he has no idea like what the mob world is like.
Yeah.
You know, but I just saw so many funny little things in Jimmy. You know, that I was just like,
yeah,
he's just really, you just get it. You know?
I also think if you're more than 10 minutes late, you're saying something. You're sending a
I
message.
do think so as well. You know what? And I wish our friends knew that. You know, I think
You're
of
telling me.
Spencer.
Spencer was 15 minutes late to our podcast today. Can you imagine?
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Warzone. Anytime
Oh
we make
my
a
gosh.
meeting, we make a set meeting. You know, 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever. It's not unreasonable to just be there on time.
Yeah.
You know, half the time they don't even show up to our Warzone meetings. You know, if Spencer says a certain time, I assume a half hour later. You know, it's just a given.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
I just hate when he initiates it and then backs out.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I know.
And
he is saying something.
Oh, yeah.
When he does that, you know,
he's just teasing us, man.
I know. And you know what? I also feel like Jimmy is a great character that I think relates to Spencer a lot, you know?
Okay.
And I think in this scenario, we relate to Tommy and, not Tommy, Frank and Russell, you
right?
know, where like Spencer just like can't get out of his own way. He refuses to like shower. You know?
I didn't see Jimmy Hoffa shower once in this movie.
Neither did I. You know, he's like, we're trying so hard to tell him.
Yeah.
You know, it gets to a point where like his wife would tell us, you know, like, please get him to shower, and was like, you know, De Niro's like, oh, he's a knucklehead. You know, I tried to tell him. You know, we did everything we could do for the guy. You know, and it's just come to a point where it's like it's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no getting that guy into a shower anymore, you know?
So what are we going to have to do? We have to take him out probably eventually.
What it is. You know?
It's either him or us.
Something we can't talk about, you know, but we know what we have to do.
Yeah. It's a shame.
It's a shame, you know? But it's actually not that sad, is this movie. Okay. It'd be funny if they listened,
I know, it
this
would be
pod.
great if... Well, Spencer was like, our audio got kind of bad at the end of our Star Wars pod. And I was like, oh, did it? And he's like, you don't listen? I was like, I don't. I'm sorry.
You record it.
I know, so I can't expect him to listen to mine
You
if I don't
lived
listen
it.
to his.
I
even though
listen.
lived
I
it.
listen to your guys.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
I haven't listened to the last two.
Did you ever
because-
finish this? Okay.
No,
No.
I didn't. Also
Let's not taint this conversation with talk of Star Wars.
Okay. You're
That's my
right.
bad.
You're right. Okay. So we settled on Jimmy for us.
Yeah.
If it's a trio, we're thinking. I feel like I'm more Russell. You're
Sure.
Frank.
Sure.
Like the mediator between me and Spencer.
Oh yeah, that's a great
And
point.
then he's Jimmy. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And
that's fair.
instead of like holding up business deals within the union, he won't take a shower.
Right.
Right.
And I'm like trying to like tell you that it's okay and like you'll be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm like, just like,
Great comparison. You're like, no, you just.
I'm
have to
getting
send
a
him to
word
Australia.
around town,
Yeah.
that it's just like, it's getting to a point,
Jeez.
Okay. Who should Ryan Gosling have played?
I think you could have played who's the guy that Pacino beats up on the table?
Tony
Pro.
Yeah.
Could have played Tony Pro.
Yeah. No, that's
It's a little too
point.
tall.
Yeah.
He's
And that's
taller than everybody in this movie, probably.
No, definitely. Yeah. Maybe except for like the lawyer, Buffalino, Russell's cousin,
Ray Romano.
Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's just like a funny character. And
Yeah.
Gosling could have done well.
Yeah.
I also think a young Frank Sheridan, I think would have been okay. You wouldn't have had to de-age him.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like they kind of look a little similar.
They
you know? I
do.
mean, you think of like Ryan Gosling in like La La Land. He kind of looks a little bit similar to
Same face shape. kinda.
yeah, kind of the same
same
face
jaw.
shape a little bit.
Yeah, that could work. I'm so glad they didn't cast a younger, because I was thinking about this when I was thinking about The Godfather Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, De Niro is playing Vito,
Yeah,
but in my mind, I can't connect the two characters.
yeah,
I can't connect De Niro and Marlon Brando.
I know.
So if they would have tried in the same movie to make a younger De Niro, there's
Mhm.
no way it would have worked for me.
Yeah, that's
know?
true.
But if they did have to do it, Ryan Gosling.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, that.
And if they
worked
did
as
do
anybody.
that, who are you going to put as Joe Pesci's younger? So
no way.
there's like nobody.
He's not an actor in Hollywood that small
no,
anymore.
No way.
Well, Spencer could do it.
Spencer, yeah. Okay. Okay. What scene would you most want to be there for?
Dude, that bread and wine looked
The bread
really
and wine?
good.
Yeah. No,
That
that's-
bread is like so hard.
I have
It's
that
like
on here
kinda
as well.
Crisped up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Breaking bread with
Yeah.
De Niro and Pesci, man. That'd be so fun. I also had the dinner or the ceremony.
Yes,
Where you
yeah.
get Pacino there too.
Any of those.
Pesci. Harvey Keitel is there as well.
Yeah.
Just so many great actors, in that scene.
I would also like to, if it's me, like Austin Hyatt being placed on set,
Yeah.
I'd like to be in the scene where Jesse Plemons, when they go pick up Al Pacino characters
With the
Al
fish.
Pacino, yeah. I'd like to be the passenger guy. I can't remember his name.
Bugs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guy with the big glasses?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like
Bugs.
to be that role because then you're in a car with Pacino, De Niro, and Plemons.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good gig.
No, yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great, yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I think I just the dinner. Or
The
the
ceremony?
dinner, the ceremony or breaking bread.
Yeah.
Either at the prison or like the first time they do it.
Yeah. The first time's a little bit more
First-
glamorous.
Yeah. Probably the first time. Get a nice steak dinner there.
Yeah.
On there too. Yeah. I think that. Okay. Best quote.
I really like when it's old De Niro, when it's old Frank Sheeran, and he is talking to that young nurse, He's like, "You remember who Jimmy Hoffa is?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I do." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you do. You don't know.
You don't know."
And then he says, like, "You don't know how fast time goes until it." I wrote it in my review. What did I say? Come here. Let me find this guy. You don't know how fast time goes by until you get there. I think that just sums up the movie really, really well.
Yeah.
Like, he did everything in this movie with good intention, you know? Like, first, just trying to make a better life for him and his family.
Yeah.
And then it just very slowly, like in contrast to Goodfellas again, very slowly, like, spirals out of his control.
Yeah.
And then he's left at the end of his life, like, oh my gosh, all these things I was working for, they just passed me by, you know?
Yeah.
So I really like that quote.
Yeah. No, that's great. And that's a great point. Like, Goodfellas, it's just like a come down, you know, of like the high that they were on, you know, just like coked out that entire movie.
Right.
But this one, it's like there's no influence of like drugs or anything. These are all like their own choices, you know, and it just slowly starts to deteriorate, you know, their decisions and their lives, you know, and they're just left to deal with the consequences, you know. Best quote, I just have, "It's what it is."
Yeah.
I just think that's, you know, Scorcese got it right with that. And that's just like what people say nowadays, you know. It is what it is, you know.
What it is.
You just got to thug that out. Thug it out, you know. Okay. Life lessons. I have, don't show up more than 10 minutes late to a meeting.
Yeah.
Unless you want to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I think that's
Let's
good.
leave it there. That's the only life lesson.
I have another one though.
Okay,
one more.
Let's go.
In this, they say this in The Godfather. If somebody that you absolutely trust sets up a meeting, then you're gonna get whacked. So I think that's a great something to live by, you know.
Yeah.
They say it in The Godfather, but this one it's true as well.
Yeah.
You know, Frank doesn't really set up the meeting, but he's there. He's involved.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's first off. Next time you plan a time for the podcast, I'm not coming.
Okay.
I don't want to get whacked. But that's what I love about, and I don't know if this is intentional. This was my interpretation of it. When Russell sends Frank on the plane to go whack Jimmy. Yeah. He says, "Give me your sunglasses." And that's like the most prominent time in the movie where we see him wearing sunglasses, I feel like. And what you said about his eyes earlier. Yeah. Like De Niro's eyes are so telling throughout this whole film. Yeah. So he gives him his sunglasses. They go to pick up Jimmy Hoffa after he gets off the plane. And when Jimmy is like asking about what's going on, he looks at Frank. And Frank just like gives him a nod. And then it cuts back to Pacino. And he's just like looking at him for a little bit. Yeah. And he just nods and gets in. Like, just that whole thing was like gauging Frank's demeanor to know if he should trust him and like to know if it's okay. Yeah.
That's
Just
a great
awesome.
point.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know why Russell took the sunglasses from him.
I have no idea if that's why.
No, that gotta be it. Because there's no other explanation.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
he needed Pacino. If he was wearing sunglasses in
He
that
would've
scene,
known.
Pacino would have known. Yeah. It's like you're trying to cover up what is going on here.
Yeah.
You know? So he needed that vulnerability of that Frank needed to have in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody that you trust is going to be there. Sets up a meeting with your enemy or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to get killed. So
yeah,
that's what I want people to take away from this pod. So, okay, I have a couple facts about the production before we get into the draft.
Okay. So
this film had a very limited theatrical release. I don't even think it was like playing anywhere in Utah when it came out.
It's like very limited. I think it was like 8 theaters across the U.S. That's crazy.
I didn't say that because I didn't know if that was actually true.
That's what I'd heard. I don't know.
That's what I heard as well. So it must be true. But Netflix, the reason that was because these theaters want to show the film for a certain amount of time before it goes to streaming.
Right.
And Netflix was going to put this film to be able to stream 30 days after its theatrical release.
Okay.
And it's kind of an unspoken rule between production companies and the theaters that like you need at least like 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
I think. And so Netflix just like refused to push back the release date, you know. So all these theaters like AMC, most notably, like refused to show it at any of their theaters. And it's, you know, pretty much like all of them, you know, just 8 theaters. That's crazy. And this is like the most mainstream film that's ever happened to, you know. And it led to a falling out between Netflix and Martin Scorsese, you know.
Which, what a loss.
Yeah.
For Netflix.
I know. Now he made a deal with Apple TV for Killers of the Flower Moon. So, and it's funny that like, also like, no companies wanted to produce a film with Scorsese directing, starring De Niro.
Right.
They thought that was just like, you know, 20, 30 years ago. The last film that was directed by Scorsese to star De Niro was Casino in 1995.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is crazy. So, and I just don't know how theaters can't see that, like, that's what people want, you know? Like, they want a Scorsese De Niro team up.
Yeah.
I'm always going to go see that movie.
Yeah.
You know? And so Paramount Pictures took it on, gave the movie $100 million budget. But then the chief executives, like, left.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost faith in the movie just for those same reasons. They didn't believe in the project. And then they, you know, the rights went around. Netflix ended up with them. Credit to them. They actually believed in the product, in the project. And they gave it $160 million budget to be able to do all of the de-aging and stuff like that. So,
well, that's the crazy thing. I've been reading up on Marty's films, and like, it's always the same story. He's always struggling to get funding. It's like, seriously, at this point, we've had 50 years of proof from one guy that he's the best director alive
ever. Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you put all the money you can in this guy? It's just crazy.
And it's like a fact that not only they're great films, but it's a guaranteed like box office hit. Yeah. You know,
if you show it places.
Yeah. If you actually show it, you know. So yeah, that was just crazy to me. And then also they had a posture coach on set. I imagine they didn't. Yeah, for De Niro and Pacino. Jeez. I imagine he didn't really do much, you know, because you can kind of tell they're old guys trying to play young guys. But there was one scene in particular where Pacino was supposed to get up out of his chair, like, you know, like a young man. And he did it like an old man on the first take. And Scorsese was kind of nervous because he'd never worked with Pacino before. So he didn't know like if he had the right to like correct this guy's acting. Right. You know? And so he like brought him aside. He's like, hey, like, I think you should just, I don't know what he told him, obviously, but like he told him he should get up a little bit more spry. And Pacino thought it was just hilarious and appreciated the feedback, you know? Yeah. And like made a big point every time to get up, like an exaggerated, like a young man getting up out of his chair. So
that's funny.
I thought that was cool. And then casting, like, what ifs here? Liam Neeson was the alternative to play Frank Sheridan in this role. And then the alternative to him was Pierce Brosnan. Oof. Which is, completely different film. Those two are actually Irish born. Yeah. So would have made a little Italian sense. Yeah. You don't buy Frank as an Irishman.
That's what's so funny is in Goodfellas he plays a character called the Irishman too. Mm-hmm. So it's just like at this point
it's just weird. He's the most Italian guy ever, besides like Pacino,
right?
You know. So yeah, I saw that was funny. Can you imagine Liam Neeson in that role?
I mean, it could have worked. I guess I like that a lot more than Pierce Brosnan, especially coming off of Silence with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Maybe it could have worked.
Neeson's kind of fallen. Doesn't really get good roles anymore.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, he went like kind of the action route, you know, with all those Taken movies. feel like he's made like 2 movies where he's on a plane or a train.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. Okay, so that's it. Let's get into the draft here. How much time? What are we at?
We're at an hour 9. It's 8:40 p.m.
Okay.
So if we can knock this out in like 30-ish minutes,
Yeah, definitely.
we're okay.
Definitely doable. Okay, when you flip that coin, I'm gonna do.
Jeez. Okay, you gonna do tails again?
Yeah, I'm gonna do tails.
It's your funeral, man. It's tails.
Okay, perfect. All right. Ooh, this is tough. Actually, it's not that tough.
I think I've only seen 12 well, I've seen 14 or 15, but I didn't want to include the Fockers movies, so
Okay. Are you gonna draft?
just so
that?
you know, I'm not going to draft those.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're free game for you.
I might.
You can leave them till
might
later.
Take one of those up. Okay. For my first pick, I'm gonna choose Goodfellas. I think it's just the movie on this list. My favorite De Niro movie. Something that I watched Goodfellas in high school.
Yeah.
And one of the older movies that I watched at the time. I didn't really watch older films.
Right.
Really loved it. I was very surprised. Something that really helped me grow an appreciation for older films.
Okay.
As well. I was like, I didn't know they could be this cool.
Yeah.
And this slick, you know? So, yeah, Goodfellas should have won Best Picture.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane that it didn't win. So, yeah, I'm going to choose Goodfellas.
Okay. Might be my favorite Scorsese.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is.
It is mine as
now that I
well.
think about it. I'm caught in between 2. I like one more than this one, but I'm going to do Heat.
Oh, okay.
1995, 1994, Michael Mann. Just one of the coolest heist movies ever. You've got De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer.
Mhm.
It's just the only way I can describe it is just cool.
Yeah.
Like you're just looking at these dudes and you're like, I want to be that when I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
Not the characters necessarily, but the guys playing them.
Yeah.
Great action-packed movie. Really well done. Great performances from everybody.
Yeah.
Must
I love
see.
that movie. We talk about it a lot. We'll do that movie one day on
sometime.
here. Great pick.
Thank you.
Great pick. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take Taxi Driver. I could take a couple others here, but Taxi Driver I think these 2 are like the most iconic, or Goodfellas and Taxi Driver, the most iconic De Niro performances. So I want those 2. Taxi Driver almost starred Pacino. Did you know that? That's who Martin wanted originally for the role. Yeah. And he hadn't really cemented De Niro as his guy.
Yeah, because they'd worked together twice before, right? Mean Streets.
And I think King of Comedy.
No, King of Comedy was in the 80s, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
82.
Taxi Driver was 76. Raging Bull was 1980. Yeah, I don't.
Maybe it was just once then, huh?
Must have been just once.
I thought he was in another one in the early 70s, but I could be wrong.
Could be. Maybe we're just not seeing it.
We just don't know those guys enough.
We're just not educated enough, I guess.
Gosh.
Okay, so yeah, just really like Taxi Driver.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Changed cinema forever.
It did. Yeah, iconic for 76.
Yeah,
it's insane how good it is.
It inspired a presidential assassination or an attempted assassination.
Oh wow!
So
the one on
Reagan.
Dang.
Wait, no, it couldn't have been Reagan.
Nixon?
Oh yeah, no, it was.
It was Reagan. Yeah.
He wanted to impress Jodie Foster.
That's crazy. Jodie Foster's 14 in this movie.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, jeez.
I just looked it up. They did New York together as well. Wait, no, that was 77. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm just off, dude.
No, you're not.
Okay. My pick.
Yeah, your pick.
I'm gonna go Casino.
Okay.
I think I like this one a little bit more than most people.
Yeah.
Just judging by the average rating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's at a 4.2. Never mind.
Okay.
Maybe I like it just as much as everybody else.
Yeah. Nick likes it a bit more than you.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as soon as this is over.
Okay.
De Niro again, just so cool in this. Like all of his suits, just looks so cool the whole time.
Yeah.
His dynamic with Pesci is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Tells a story that's, I don't know. I feel like I spent a lot of my childhood in Vegas, not like doing anything there, but you know.
What were you doing there?
My sister's always had like softball tournaments in Nevada.
Okay.
So we were always in Vegas and stuff.
Did you hit the tables?
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me. They just knew I was going to win. So
that's like me, dude.
yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's more close to home than like his East Coast mob stories, Scorcese's and Niro's. So just really love it. Great movie.
No, that's a great movie. Also, Sharon Stone is in that movie.
Oh my gosh.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Okay. My pick. I would pick The Irishman here, but we usually don't pick.
We don't do that.
Yeah, we talked about it enough. I'm gonna pick The Godfather Part 2 for this.
Okay.
Austin and I watched this together for the first time. Just like Irishman, it's really long. It's 202 minutes, so pretty much 3.5 hours as well. But it's got some of the same elements, you know. I mean, like kind of like how Frank or Frodo like seals his fate, or is that that's in the first one? Fredo. No, it's Frodo. Frodo.
Jeez.
Fredo dies in the second one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think we're just introduced to him at the end when he's moving everything to Vegas of the first one.
Yeah.
So then, yeah.
So kind of in the similar way, like Jimmy seals his fate.
Yeah.
You know, Fredo does the same thing. And I kind of just noticed that parallel when I was watching The Irishman. I feel like we'd appreciate The Godfather Part 2 a lot more on a second watch.
Yeah, I felt bad when we were first watching it. We were both like, I don't know.
We're just like, yeah, it's hard with these long movies. There's so many things you're not going to understand on the first watch.
Yes. And like, just like The Irishman, these long Italian mob movies, just way too many characters to keep track of.
Yeah.
That like, that first rewatch is just a little overwhelming. You know?
Yeah, we didn't know like it all was going down like in Cuba.
Yeah.
In The Godfather Part 2, and like so many plot lines that were just like kind of went over our heads.
Yeah.
But I mean, The Irishman grew on me a lot. I really liked it initially as well, but like it's just grown on me.
Yeah.
So I feel like The Godfather Part 2 will do that as well for me. So okay.
Beautiful.
Looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah, you are. I think you're winning this one. You're pulling away quick already.
I'm gonna
Taxi Driver, and I mean all of those are like 5-star for everybody movies.
Yeah. I'm gonna go really personal though in the next.
Okay. You gonna do Shark Tale? That's pretty personal for me.
Dude.
Scorsese's in that too.
I know, that's insane, right?
Okay, I'm gonna do King of Comedy.
Okay. I have not seen that.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I need to watch it so I can crap on Joker.
Yeah, I was telling you that like everybody compares the Joker to like a shot for shot remake of Taxi Driver. That's what they say. But
that's what I say too.
If you watch The King of Comedy, you're like, oh my gosh, what does Joker even have? Like,
yeah. What's original about it?
I'd have to rewatch it honestly. But The King of Comedy is just so great. Like it's a good blend of kind of like feeling like a wacky pity for the main guy, but also knowing he's just like out of his mind.
Yeah.
And that's a really great performance from De Niro because he's usually playing like a withdrawn, like quiet, cool guy. Whereas in this one, he's just like off his rocker, kind of funny guy.
Really?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I need to watch that. Okay, that's a good pick.
Thank you, sir.
Now I think I'm gonna take. Let's make sure I'm not missing. Okay, I'm gonna take Silver Linings Playbook.
I knew it when you said you were going personal.
Yeah. I love this film. I'm I'm an Eagles fan. Philadelphia Eagles, 5-0. And I saw this movie. I don't know, starting to like them. Kind of just cemented my interest. But it feels so personal. It's just like there's so many aspects that I like in it. You know, like Scarlett. What's her name? Or what's her name? Not Scarlett.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Her dynamic with Bradley Cooper is just so funny to watch.
Yeah.
And, you know, they have amazing on-screen chemistry. They've been in like 3 movies together. And De Niro is so great as like the father. It just feels like such a family movie, you know. And then there's like the Eagles and sports betting.
there's like the Eagles,
Eagles, sports betting. You know, there's a parlay in the movie.
Gosh.
You know, it's insane. It's just I am really drawn to it. So, yeah, you guys should watch that movie. It's really good.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings
yes.
Playbook. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you turned it and said that to me. I was like, I've seen it.
You have.
That was my Jennifer Lawrence awakening movie.
Really.
Yeah,
Didn't we
I was
watch
like,
that together?
holy-
I think I showed it.
Yeah, you showed it to me. It's like she is hot. Had never thought that before.
Yeah, she was looking good.
Jeez. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick another Scorsese. I'm gonna pick Raging Bull.
Okay.
Won Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Maybe I liked this one a little bit less than most people do. It's just really sad. Again, it's just Scorsese directing a De Niro to play a guy that's bad for himself.
Really.
But yeah, it's really great. It's all in black and white. Yeah, I don't know. It's great.
Yeah,
It's a great movie.
I need to finish it. I've tried to watch it like 3 times. It's
Listen.
hard to get through.
And again, this is like, you need to know the context of your first watch. I watched this in a hotel room in California on like mostly on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
No, I watched it, half of it on a plane, and then I got to the hotel room and finished it.
Yeah.
I've decided to stop watching stuff on a plane.
Yeah, what movie's ever good on a plane?
Never,
You know?
never. So yeah, I'm done watching stuff on planes.
Yeah.
I think if I rewatch this in my theater setup, it'd be good.
You gotta stop traveling so much, man.
No, dude, I'm
Stop
just
going to
always
Europe.
going somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, trying to fit stuff in for the pod. You got to multitask. So
Okay, good pick.
thank you. Are we doing 6, 5?
6, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
We always do 6.
Okay. This is tough now.
Like tough, like you're running out of
It's
options,
like,
or you don't know
Which
anymore?
Meet the Fockers do I want to take? You know, there's Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
There's Little Fockers. That's the third
Is
one.
he in all 3 of those?
Yeah, he is.
Oh my gosh.
Not a lot of people know about that one. You know, it's I want to shine a light on it.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, I'm gonna take Limitless. I really like.
Okay.
You don't think that's a good pick?
It's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
I-
another Bradley Cooper.
I've
De
never
Niro
finished
team
that.
up. Really,
Yeah.
it's really good. You know what it's about, right?
Yeah, like he takes a drug that he can access all of his brain or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a motivating film too. Just
Okay.
the way he's like a writer, and he just like gets motivated to write a book, and then you see him just like grow and learn to do all these cool things.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to watch. Bradley Cooper has a great he's very watchable, great
Okay.
watchability. You know, just a cool guy, and that's how he is in real life too, from what
Right.
I've heard. You know,
Well, you know him, right?
I know.
Personally?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about some of his performances
Right.
on some film
Right.
festivals, stuff like that. But then De Niro is great. He's like the antagonist in this film, Limitless, and he does a fantastic job. So, yeah, that's my pick. It's a good pick. So, sticking with it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Have you seen Cape Fear?
Yeah, I have.
I'm gonna pick Jackie Brown.
Okay.
I haven't seen Cape Fear.
I don't like Jackie Brown that much.
I don't love it either, but I like De Niro's character in it. He kind of plays like a bumbling idiot. Like
Mhm.
he's just way out of his depth in it.
Yeah.
He just gets off of prison or gets out of prison, and he's friends with Samuel L. Jackson. And he's like always just in the background, just always doing something wrong. And he really like seals Jackson's fate by the end of it.
Oh, really?
Without giving any spoilers. You never finished it, huh?
No.
Oh. Well, I just like De Niro's performance in it because it's just so different from what we're used to from him.
Yeah.
So,
very like unlikable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unlikable and stupid.
Yeah.
Which usually he's
when he does that thing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
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 That's just insane.
Pretty shocking.
I know, yeah. Very shocking.
So
okay. I'm between two here. Either Cape Fear or another one. I'm gonna go American Hustle. Is he in that?
He is.
Who does he play?
He plays he's like at a table meeting for like one scene.
That's it?
I think.
Yeah, that's not worth it to pick him here.
Yeah.
He's not even on like the top 30 credited here.
Yeah.
Actors.
I don't even know how they got him in that movie. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
like 2 seconds.
Okay. I'm gonna take The Deer Hunter.
Okay, nice.
This is my last pick. This is my last
Yeah,
one.
that's your last pick.
Okay.
Best picture winner, huh?
Yeah, best picture winner. Listen, I gave this a 3.5. It's probably more of a 4. I'm being honest. I'm just trying to validate my pick here,
Yeah.
you know. But it's another pretty long one, 83 minutes. It's sad and it's draining,
right?
And my favorite part is when they're at war. There's so many really great scenes where they're playing Russian roulette. There's this one in Vietnam where they're like prisoners of war. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah, jeez.
They're prisoners of war, and these Vietnamese people like make them play Russian roulette.
Right.
And it's Christopher Walken against De Niro here.
And
it's like one of the most iconic scenes of all time. So many people have like parodied it, you know. But there's a little Vietnamese guy, kind of about like Spencer's height.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like 4'11" or something like
Who
that.
does he look like of our friends?
Doesn't look like anyone. But he's so like bouncing off the walls, you know. You know how short people are.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
dude.
just like really energetic.
Yeah.
Can't get him to settle down.
I had to fix some of these sound dampeners because Spencer was in here about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Just going crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So he's just like he's speaking Vietnamese the whole time.
Mhm.
And he keeps like yelling. He's like Mao,
Don't-
Mao,
Yeah.
Mao. And he smacks De Niro.
Okay.
Smacks De Niro and Walken probably like 30 times in the scene. He said Mao, Mao. It's so funny. But yeah, just a really emotional movie.
Sounds like it, dude. You're really selling me.
Really sad, just like about PTSD.
Yeah.
And these guys are like De Niro and Walken have like other buddies. Fredo from The Godfather, he's also in it. But it like reminds me of like us, you know, like our friendship, you know, like what if we all went to war?
Yeah.
And then like one of us came back and just like wasn't the same, and there was like nothing you could do. And it's sad in that way that you see their friends die and you just see them like it's how like just it kind of just like shows how nobody really understood what the veterans went through
Right.
in the war, you know, and how just like you couldn't like adjust back to reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, an important movie. People should watch it, but like it's pretty. It's a lot. It's hard to get through. So
Okay.
yeah,
I'll have to give it a watch.
Yeah.
I'm going deer hunting this weekend. So
you are.
I need to prep.
They hunt for deer for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
I don't
I'm sure it'll
get it.
help regardless.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my last pick, but I'm at the bottom of the barrel. Really.
Yeah.
I could either do The Intern.
I think it's a good movie.
I really haven't seen it since it first came out. I was like
Really?
a kid and I hated it because it was like a chick flick.
I watched it like a year ago. I really liked
It's
it.
pretty good.
Yeah. It's just a really good feel good movie, obviously.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's so much as like, I don't think really think it's a chick flick. I mean, it's starring Anne Hathaway, so
But I love her, so I'll have to give it a...
she's good. She's great in it. But De Niro, you always expect like somebody to slip up
Yeah.
in a situation to add some like drama. He's just like a perfect old soul the
Yeah.
whole time.
Okay.
It's really
Sweet.
I just
That
like
won't be my
one.
pick today, but I'll rewatch it.
Okay, I talked you out of it.
No, you talked me into it, but I was gonna, maybe pick it as a joke. But if it's a serious
Okay.
contender, then, okay, I'm really at the bottom of the barrel.
Shark Tale.
So it's either Shark Tale or Joker.
Okay.
It's gonna be Joker.
Pick Joker.
I'll
yeah.
pick Joker. I know it's derivative. I know it's just straight up plagiarism, but it's plagiarizing something amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
Yeah. And after having seen The King of Comedy, like De Niro plays the antagonist in The King of Comedy in this movie. So I think it works well. I think his inclusion is great.
Yeah. Actually, Forrest gave it a 3. Are you sure you want to pick it?
Well,
He gave it a 3-star.
it's not very fun.
Yeah.
It's not a fun movie.
Nick gave it a 2. He feels the same way about it as I do.
I get it where it's like you love something so much that it's disgusting that it's
Yeah.
just ripping it off. But
It'd be cool if it was like an homage, but like
Yeah.
just a rip-off.
it really is.
And I know it's what he's going for, but I just don't see the artistry.
I think if it works for me kind of because it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Like if it weren't introducing a character from another IP and it was just ripping the movie off, that would be worse for me. But the fact that
That's
it's like
true.
they need a great story to introduce this comic book character that we know,
Yeah.
like reintroduce them and redefine them, I think that is a little bit more justifiable.
Like I'm so like, I don't want it to be where these comic book characters get these like amazing movies. Like, but the tone of Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy is just not right for a comic book character. In my
I think
opinion.
the tone could be, but the story stealing shouldn't be a norm.
Yeah.
I like the idea of comic book characters getting more serious stuff.
I don't.
Not that we need it, but like if you're going to make them anyway, why not throw something like this in there?
I think just stop making them.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Ideally,
honestly.
Ideally, right? But
then it's like all the series movies we're gonna get. It's like half of them are gonna be comic book characters.
yeah,
That's what that's what I don't want. That's what I'm afraid of.
But I think the poor reception of Joker makes it so that we're not going to get something like that again.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
The sequel might be something serious again, but hopefully it's not a Scorcese ripoff.
Yeah, I have no idea what the next one's gonna be like. It's a musical with Lady Gaga.
I mean, it could be like The King of Comedy, because The King of Comedy is De Niro's a comedian who's obsessing over this guy.
Yeah.
And he has a girlfriend, kind of, that he's not really dating, who's also obsessed with the comedian he's obsessed with, but for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
So they like work together and their obsession drives them. And that's what keeps them together. So maybe the Joker sequel could be...
Is she Harley Quinn in the movie?
In The King of Comedy?
No. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the next Joker.
No, sorry. I was talking about The King of Comedy. I'm saying,
okay.
Like the Joker could rip off
Could be
some
like
more
that.
elements again, but
Okay.
I hope they don't. I hope they've learned their lesson.
Yeah.
'Cause I really
it'll
love-
probably be like A Star Is Born.
Yeah, it'll be just like that. I really love Joaquin Phoenix, so I don't want him
Yeah,
to
me
like
too.
make crappy movies.
Napoleon's gonna be great.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so great. Okay.
Okay. Well, you win the draft. We don't even need to go over them again.
Thanks.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, we left off a couple good De Niro movies, but like we haven't seen them. So
Yeah, I haven't seen
there's a lot.
Cape Fear.
There's like 100 De Niro movies where he just like takes a paycheck,
Yeah, but I mean, even like Once Upon a Time in America, that's one of the best movies out there.
Yeah,
I haven't
need
seen
to
Mean
watch
Streets.
that. It's not like streaming. I don't think. On
I hate
Prime.
that, dude.
I know.
You can't even pay to rent it. That's
Yeah.
how freaking Apocalypse Now is, or whatever.
I know. It's
Can't
annoying.
find it anywhere.
Okay. All right. That's the draft then, everybody. Okay. Any last words?
No. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
For me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Film Fixation Podcast, you fixators. Good night.